welcome to Metropole Sports Center. My name is Nashon Owano. Last week on the show, we were talking about the future of sports beyond COVID-19, and I had an able panel of sports administrators drawn from all over the world to just make sense of this whole conversation. The reality is that COVID-19 is amongst us, and the conversation that we should be having right now is what is the future of COVID-19? What is the future of sports beyond COVID-19? Introducing my guests today, we have Derek Ntege, who's an administrative consultant at the Ugandan Swimming Federation. We have Maria Barakat, all the way from Jordan. She works for the Arab Gymnastics Union. Then we have Kenaz Mensah, who's the former Secretary General for the Ghana Hockey Federation. Gobinath Sivaraja, who's the Marketing and Media Manager for the National Olympic Committee of Sri Lanka. And finally, we have Umair, all the way from Pakistan, who works with KAFTA, an organization that tries to empower the vulnerable people in the community by equipping them with sports skills to help them sustain themselves. Now, guys, welcome back to Metropole Sports Center. Hoping that you guys have had a fantastic week. The reality is that COVID-19 is amongst us. From your perspective, what probably do you think is the future of sports beyond COVID-19? Because COVID-19 is going to be a conversation you're going to be talking about for a while, at least until we have the whole issue of vaccine sorted out.
Yes, I think spot on with that. It's going to be with us for a very long time, and we've got to learn how to live. So what's the way forward? I think the bigger players, the International Olympic Committee, and then all the other international federations have got to come in and go a bit of an extra mile and extend a helping hand, especially to the developing countries in terms of how they can deal with the pandemic. I mean, everybody has hinted at it that there's been education programs for the athletes and probably the administrators on how they can handle this situation and how they can keep fit. So I believe that these guys have a war chest at their disposal. So if at all they could come in and sort of subsidize the testing process for the athletes, because at the end of the day, they've got to stay healthy to go out there in the water or swing, so whatever it is. So the international federations and bigger players, like I said, have got to come in, sort of like what the UK did, the furlough system, and the governments as well. Sorry, I didn't mention that. And sort of like take off the burden, because it's a huge load these clubs or athletes are lifting on their shoulders, and take it off them because they're not bringing in enough to sustain themselves. So we need the bigger players coming in to lift the heavy load of this lot, and that will sort of manage to keep them afloat, and maybe they can look at other avenues to keep their heads above water and survive, and so they can last the distance and prepare the athletes for the upcoming international engagements. Because I believe 2021 is going to be a very, very busy year. And the corporates as well, like it has been in Ghana. I think the rest of us need to pick a leaf from that. The corporates coming in, and this could be part of their CSR activities, sort of like bail out these sports institutions, because they might have a penny or two to spare, and it could go a long way in helping these sports organizations or federations.
Olympics Committee, what probably is the biggest lesson that you as an Olympic committee learned? I mean, what could you guys have been more prepared of this thing, or in case something like this happened in the near future, what do sports administrators or the relevant persons need to do?
Thanks. If you look at the history from the before Christ, like ancient Olympic Games, like Olympic Games, it started for the amateur athletes. Then how it became as a professional athletes. Then it commercialized. Now it's like another crisis has come up. You know, if you look at the sports now, it's everything is coming into the digitalization. That means like esports is coming up, and even the international federations also introducing kind of esports system. Say for an example, if you look at like Taekwondo, they have conducted some world championships for the Pumse, right? It's just to do the they will mark from somewhere in another country. Right? It's happening. When I was working Taekwondo, the complex sport in a digitalized space. For example, you are from Kenya, I'm from Sri Lanka, so there the cameras me, then the person is from set up, or maybe it might be applicable for the another sports as well. So because the world is going in like in a roller coaster way, so we don't know that what's going to happen. So this kind of new platform might be introduced. But the thing is, how we are going to really enjoy this kind of digitalized sports? That's a great question mark. Say for an example, if you look at the esports, how it's really helping to the health benefits, right? That's the question mark. Health and the good in the world, but no one knows that how it's gonna be. Definitely, there should be a change because there are so many unexpected to come in the front in future. So can expect that some new stuffs, new sports might be introduced by the international federations. Like apart from what we can practice these days is just education. Education. Eberhard said last week about Athlete 365 National Olympic Committee's administration, the sport less advanced sports management course. We are trying to educate the values of the sports rather than the field and playing the system that these days, but no one knows about the future for sure.
Okay, Maria, is it possible for sports federations, let me be specific about the gymnastics union, to have sort of its own sustainable set of contingency plans, financial or any kind of thing that maybe other federations can borrow from? Is it? Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I think that it's very naive of us to think that things will go back to normal. And the industry have suffered a lot. With no spectators, there were, of course, less revenue. Broadcasters suffered, the media suffered, and with that, sponsors have suffered. So I think everyone will plan differently in the future. This was a tremendous risk that the whole world did not expect or plan for. So who knows what other risks are there ahead of us, so that we don't know about, of course. So I think that we or the whole industry will have to plan more carefully in the future. But also on the other hand, we have done things differently nowadays in this period. We have used innovative ways, new approach, new ways to connect and engage spectators, levels, even on grassroots levels. So I think we need to this with us to make it part of the new normal in the future.
Kenaz, at the center of any sporting activity is the spectators. I know this could be sort of like a broad question, but how going forward with this COVID-19 situation, how do you think the whole resumption and the allowing of spectators back into sporting be taken into consideration?
First of all, I would say right, or typical. Whether it's another normal. So, I mean, if you look at the other place that hit the world, it shook the world. And at that time, we didn't even have this kind of technology to deal with it. So I don't think that this is going to be such a big deal for too long. But with that said, you know, like you said, spectators are the center of our sport, and I think this is what makes our education so special. It is moments like this that make a group, you know, most beneficial to humanity. So we need to figure out the way to situation or the times to the benefit of sport. And you know, we'll go back to sports. Now, exciting thing is this. Miss sports so much so that we flock to the place, which is a positive, a big positive. Okay? Or is it going to make us so scared that we're skeptical for a while, which will make until a point. But, you know, our marketing education teaches us that in all adversity, and so therefore clubs and big organizations can do this. You can offer season tickets only to people who stay with you online. I mean, these are very basic things, and this is just off my head. I'm not saying this is the solution, but I'm saying that our marketing skills teaches us there are ways of working towards the psychology of our own people, you know, to get the best of them. So we will definitely get back, and our genius as a group of people like this will determine how fast we get back to what it was, and whether we have an advancement when we finally get back. Because like I've always said, and I want to see the positive in the positive more than the negative, because the negative never lasts forever. But we always have opportunities to make things better. So yeah, we can do little things like that. If you stay with us constantly, you have still season tickets, and you know how much season tickets mean to sports spectators. So that if it's 2 years, 3 years, you get back, you get your online revenues, and you also are sold tickets when you get back to the stadium. I mean, these are simple things we could do.
Okay, we'll be coming back to Umair just to get his thoughts in terms of what is the future of sports beyond COVID-19. Now we take a short commercial break. After the break, I'll still be continuing the conversation on the future of sports beyond COVID-19.